Chlorophyll printing. When nature becomes the photographer. What if nature could create its own photographs? No camera, no lens, no ink, no silver, no digital sensor, only sunlight, time, and a living leaf. For nearly 2 centuries, photography has depended on human technology. We build cameras, develop chemicals, and design increasingly sophisticated sensors to capture the world around us. Yet hidden inside an ordinary leaf is a process that challenges everything we assume about image making. A process where nature becomes both the artist and the medium. A process known as chlorophyll printing. Today we're exploring one of the most fascinating forms of alternative photography, a technique that allows sunlight to create images directly within living plant tissue. And in doing so, it asks a profound question: what is a photograph? Most photographs begin with an act of capture. A camera records light, a sensor stores information, a negative preserves an image. The process is deliberate and controlled. Chlorophyll printing begins somewhere entirely different. With a living leaf. At first glance, a leaf seems simple. But inside it, millions of cells are constantly collecting sunlight. Chlorophyll absorbs energy from the sun and converts it into life itself. Every leaf is already recording light. It stores sunlight. It responds to exposure. It carries the history of its environment within its tissues. Chlorophyll printing takes advantage of this remarkable ability. A photographic transparency is placed against the surface of a living leaf. The leaf is then exposed to sunlight for days or even weeks. Areas receiving direct light gradually change and fade. Protected areas remain darker. Slowly, almost invisibly, an image begins to appear. No developer, no fixer, no darkroom. The leaf creates the photograph using its own biological processes. The image does not sit on the surface. It grows from within, and that changes everything. Traditional photography is often built around permanence. Photographers preserve negatives. Museums archive prints. Digital systems create backups. The goal is simple: make the image last. A chlorophyll print follows a different philosophy. Its existence depends on a living organism. The image emerges through change. And eventually, through decay. The same biological process that creates the photograph also begins transforming the leaf itself. The image becomes inseparable from the life cycle of its medium. This creates a fascinating paradox. The photograph exists because the plant changes. Memory emerges through vulnerability. The image is born from impermanence. In many ways, chlorophyll printing feels closer to nature's rhythms than traditional photography ever could. Nothing in nature remains fixed. Leaves grow, flowers bloom, trees age, seasons transform landscapes. Life is defined by change. Yet modern culture often encourages the opposite idea. We archive everything, store everything, back up everything. We seek permanence in a world governed by transformation. The chlorophyll print quietly challenges that obsession. It reminds us that something does not need to last forever to be meaningful. In fact, its fragility may be exactly what gives it value. Unlike digital photographs that can be copied endlessly, every chlorophyll print is unique. Each leaf has different veins, different textures, different biological characteristics. No 2 images are ever identical. The photograph belongs to a specific living object. And because the object continues to change, the image continues evolving as well. In a sense, the photograph remains alive. Perhaps that is why chlorophyll printing feels so powerful. It transforms photography from an act of control into an act of collaboration. The artist does not fully determine the outcome. The plant participates. The sun participates. Time participates. Nature becomes a co-creator of the image. And in a world increasingly shaped by algorithms and artificial intelligence, there is something deeply moving about that partnership. A photograph created not by controlling nature, but by working with it. The next time you hold a leaf in your hand, look closely. Within its veins flows a system far older than any camera ever invented. A living structure capable of recording sunlight, storing energy, and documenting its relationship with the world. Perhaps photography has never belonged exclusively to human beings. Perhaps nature has been creating its own images all along. And perhaps the greatest lesson of chlorophyll printing is not how to make photographs, but how to appreciate things that are alive, changing, and destined to disappear. Because sometimes the most meaningful images are not the ones that last forever. They are the ones that remind us that life itself is temporary.